Morgan Housel asserts that the behavior of individuals has a greater impact on the economy than the economic laws that are taught. He cites his experience as an economics graduate, where he observed that many of his colleagues, despite their academic background, were unable to achieve wealth or analyze the causes of the economic collapse in 2008 in a uniform manner. This shows that there are no fixed laws in economics, unlike the laws of physics, which can be easily understood and analyzed. Housel points out that achieving wealth is not easy, as individuals' experiences of achieving financial success vary greatly. Behavioral analysis shows that it is not enough for a person to know the basics of financial success, but they must also apply this in their life. He believes that the psychology of money plays a vital role, as it is the behavior of individuals with money that determines their financial status more than theoretical knowledge. He highlights his famous saying that education without practical application remains worthless. As his ideas developed, he began writing articles explaining the factors that affect people's financial situation, until he reached 20 main factors that directly affect the financial situation of each individual. He decided to collect these factors in an article he called The Psychology of Money, in which he presents his deep insights into how personal behaviors affect financial success. Inspired by the positive feedback he received after publishing his famous article on the psychology of money, Morgan Housel decided to turn the article into a book that would include more details and provide a deeper explanation. He expresses his happiness that through this work he was able to reach more than 1 million readers, which inspired him to create a series of articles directed at the general reader, to facilitate the understanding of the critical science of money. In his book, Housel addresses the idea that individuals' experiences with money, although they constitute a very small percentage of the overwhelming majority of their perceptions of how money works. He points out that every personal experience affects how a person understands the economy and money, as these experiences increase the complexity of matters. He expresses the challenge of reaching a single vision of the economic situation, given their personal vision. He also highlights his message that financial success does not depend only on developing a perfect plan or choosing a good location to start a project, but there are many hidden factors that can affect the results. He stresses the importance of understanding these factors and recognizing that some causes may be beyond our sight. Ultimately, Housel calls for treating money as a complex and changing concept, dependent on individuals' behaviors and experiences. Housel emphasizes that psychology plays a greater role in financial decision-making than economics itself. He points out that some people may make seemingly irrational decisions, such as spending money on trivial things instead of paying off debts. These behaviors reflect psychological influences and experiences that go beyond common sense. He reviews a personal experience related to the debt of a person who was asking him for money, and points out how this person always preferred to spend his money on unnecessary things instead of paying off his debts. He explains that these behaviors are not crazy, but rather reflect different priorities for this person. He mentions a rule he learned from his father regarding lending money, as he advises not to expect the loaned amount to be repaid, which facilitates relationships with friends and avoids problems. He shares an experience that happened to him with a person who did not pay him a debt despite the opportunities available to do so, and shows how familiarity between individuals and keeping things clear can maintain relationships without complications. He highlights that the spread of financial disputes can affect family relationships and communities, indicating that the decision to maintain the fire of relationships is better than taking care of financial disputes. He concludes by emphasizing that the person who did not pay his debt paid a heavy price, which reflects the importance of human relationships over financial factors. Morgan Housel explores the impact of experiences accumulated across generations on the way people understand money and make financial decisions. He shows that people who grow up in poverty have different measures of risk and reward than those who grow up in wealthier families. These experiences can shape their minds and habits throughout their lives, leading to fundamental differences in their relationship with money. He recalls the story of John F. Kennedy, whose post-Great Depression era had a profound impact on his thinking. When Kennedy was asked about that period during his election campaign, he expressed his painful memories and the impact that experience had on the American people. He recalls how these lived experiences are indelible in the memory of individuals' perceptions of life and leave a lasting impact. Housel asserts that this influence extends to mindsets that are shaped across generations, revealing how those who have lived through booms and busts tend to view money in ways that are influenced by their own experiences. These differences are evident in attitudes toward investment and saving, making it important to realize that there is no one right way to deal with money, but rather that every financial thinking is the product of cultural and experiential accumulations specific to each individual. Through his emotional relationship with the experiences of John Kennedy, despite not knowing the details of the Great Depression, he was able to achieve political success in shaping their beliefs. Basically, the Second World War he lived through. Housel highlights that the different experiences that individuals go through in their lives play a role. And their feelings about money. Personal stories indicate that individuals cannot understand the feelings of poverty and deprivation unless they live them themselves. He emphasizes the importance of lived experience, as theoretical knowledge does not compensate for life experiences. How many of them grew up in difficult environments and poverty? This environment shaped their personalities and gave them humility. Housel evokes the experiences of the prophets, explaining, and mercy, reflecting the idea that difficulties teach people how to deal with life in a better way. The discussion turns to how future generations are influenced by what previous generations have experienced, indicating the importance of understanding each individual's personal and economic history and how it affects their financial behavior. Housel also touches on the idea that wisdom comes from difficult experiences, and cites Steve Harvey's words that learning from setbacks can help build a strong character, reinforcing the idea that financial challenges are not an end but an opportunity for personal growth and development. These insights overlap with the concept that facing difficulties helps a person gain their wisdom and morals, while emphasizing the importance of lessons learned from the lives and experiences of the prophets. Housel emphasizes that money does not change people, but rather reveals their true character. If someone is stingy and poor, increasing money will show their stinginess more clearly, while a generous person will show their generosity. He highlights that money reveals people's true nature, explaining internal change and reform. If a person has a positive intention to change, their circumstances will actually improve. How economic obstacles can affect the human spirit, as it explains that many people, despite their goodness, may not have the opportunity to achieve wealth. This does not mean that they are bad, but circumstances may limit their potential. It stresses the importance of intention and positive thinking in that God does not change the condition of a people until they change what is in themselves. Change destiny, pointing out to understand, despite the differences in opinions and viewpoints, both the poor and the rich have. It also discusses how different people's experiences can be a source, but it must be understood in the context of their own experiences and opportunities. Correct experiences that reflect their lives. He sees that the rich man's talk about risk may be true from the different understanding about money among everyone. This disparity in opportunities creates a type available to him, which shows that the level of risk is not uniform. And wealth. It discusses the impact of financial risk and how the impact of loss varies between individuals based on their financial status. It explains the factors that influence people's reactions to risk, as a loss of 500,000 reals has different consequences for the poor compared to the rich. For the poor, a loss can have major negative effects that radically affect their lives, while the rich can deal with losses in a different way. It highlights the importance of understanding the different circumstances that individuals face, noting that it is easy to criticize others without considering their backgrounds and personal experiences. It talks about its personal experience with friends who may not understand its circumstances, which makes it realize that each person has its own way that has affected it. The social and family factors in which it was raised. The writer links its financial status, but also includes the idea that a person's situation is not only determined by comparing his experience with that of his friends, emphasizing that the different environmental factors,